What's up, everyone, and welcome to the first episode of Facts and Vibes. It's MLK Day, and what a better way to start off the podcast than with an episode that holds the purpose of honoring Dr. Martin Luther King Jr.'s legacy and reflecting on the world today. Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., as we all know, or at least I definitely hope we all know. If not, then that's actually a problem, sadly. But we all know he was a Baptist minister and a prominent civil rights activist and leader from 1955 until his assassination in 1968, during which he delivered his famous "I Have a Dream" speech in 1963, in which he spoke of his dream of a United States that is void of segregation and racism. This day commemorates Dr. King's achievements during the civil rights movement in the 1960s, usually being celebrated with parades and marches and speeches, along with community service and vigils. Now, a little history for you. On November 2nd, 1983, President Ronald Reagan signed a bill marking the third Monday of every January as Martin Luther King Jr. Day, also commonly referred to as MLK Day. This became the first federal holiday honoring an African American. The holiday was observed for the first time, though, on January 20th in 1986. This day is also set to commemorate his birthday, which actually falls on January 15th. So that was just Friday? A few days, yeah, it was just Friday. Or was it Saturday? It was a few days ago. You know where we're going with it. But the reason it's being celebrated on Monday is to increase the number of 3-day weekends for federal employees. Kind of similar to holidays that are under the Uniform Monday Holiday Act, which was enacted in 1968. Like Memorial Day and Labor Day. Yeah, those. We all know those. Now, however, did you know, though, that it's not only observed here in the United States? Bet you didn't. Canada, Israel, Hiroshima, Japan, and the Netherlands recognize this day in some way, shape, or form. Now, it's not as grand or, as great of a celebration and recognition like what we have here, but I think it's nice to know that we aren't the only country that at least keeps his memory and ideals in thought. Now, for what I have prepared for this episode is something that I've written as well as kept on my mind for a while, and I felt it was necessary to share it on a day like today. Because I myself, I've participated in Martin Luther King oratorical competition before back in high school. At the time, though, unfortunately, I was kind of reserved when it came to speaking, so I didn't participate in it as much or as often as I now realize I would have liked and loved to. And unfortunately, we can't go back in time and do it again. If I could, definitely I'd go back and do every oratorical if I could. But now that we have this platform here, guess what? I get to do exactly that. Yes, sir. So the title of what I want to share today is also the title of this episode. It's called Wait No More. Are you ready? Now, I hope you get ready to clap at the end of this, because if you don't, I'm a no. But we're going to just go on ahead and get on into this. The legacy of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. and his fight for justice and civil rights for all people has left a lasting impact on our society. However, the injustices in our world continue to exist, and so does racial inequality. Though not always as obvious, African Americans are still discriminated against at a disproportionate rate in comparison to others in our nation. Dr. King fought against this inequality with the hope of there one day being a world where people are not judged by the color of their skin, but by the content of their character. The hope that as a nation we will rise above the racial injustices and become a nation that will have equality among different races. I too, like Dr. King, carry this hope for my generation and future generations. Today, I and many others like me are what Dr. King dreamed of. Young African American who's attended integrated schools, able to use public facilities, eat at restaurants, and if I work hard, I can become whatever I strive for. However, Dr. King's dream has not been completely fulfilled. We still do not have the freedom and opportunities in education, jobs, and society that white males have. The fact and lack of equality and opportunity between races reminds me every day that I'm an African American male. But I have not lost hope. Our goal is to achieve the things that others say aren't possible. We should not lose the hope that we will be accepted for our abilities and intelligence regardless of our ethnic background. Now in 2020, we sat back and witnessed racial injustices play out in the media, even amidst a global pandemic. These injustices are why we must continue to protest and wait no more. We have learned to endure the worst abuses of the past. But it is difficult to continue to wait for things to get better and change on their own when we see discrimination continuing to play out every day through racial profiling and African Americans being killed in the streets of American cities by white police officers and self-proclaimed air quote vigilantes. Americans are still divided over racial injustice. We must wait no more. The evidence of George Floyd's death, violently killed by a police officer who held his knee on his neck for 9 minutes until he stopped breathing, proves we must wait no more. Breonna Taylor, shot and killed in her apartment by a police officer, proves we must wait no more. Dante Wright, pulled over during a traffic stop and shot in the chest at close range, all because the officer claimed to have confused her taser with her gun. This is an indication that we must wait no more. We must continue peaceful protest and demonstration for the Ahmaud Arbery's, Tamir Rice's, Freddie Gray's, Philando Castile's, and many more of our generation and future generations. I feel the despair of my African American ancestors from the past, the anger and despair of our African Americans today. But we are Dr. King's dream and hope for the future. Young, educated, black, motivated, and yes, of course, angry. But let that anger move you in a direction that can finally put a stop to the horrors that our race continues to endure. Get involved, be active, vote, and let your voice be heard, because we will wait no more. And scene. That's your time to clap. Yay! Are you clapping? If not, I'll know. Are you clapping? I'm gonna assume you are. Thank you. Now, honestly, if you've listened this far, I really do want to say thank you very much. And I didn't want to make this episode too long, because we're just getting started, you know? And some people don't have those attention listening spans, I like to call them. But episodes will get longer as we go. Trust and believe they will, as we have some other things to really dig and dive into. But this, I just really wanted to share that word and sentiment and those feelings on this day, just kind of based off of everything that's not even only gone on between 2020 and 2021 with racial injustice. It goes back way further than that. We all know that. I just felt as though it really brings things to light, or really brought things to light, what we've seen in the midst of a global pandemic. Something that you think would, while the world is focused on that, will calm down some other things. But I guess at the same time, when you aggravate and agitate people with one thing and, you know, everything kind of just plays off of each other, it just really kind of brought all of that to light. And I feel like we need to speak more on it. Our voices need to be used a whole lot more than they already are. And that's why I love that this platform right here, I feel like, is the perfect way for me to start it off, using it to voice that opinion. So before we go, real quick, I want to mention 3 things before I close this out. First, I want to acknowledge that today is the birthday of Muhammad Ali, activist, entertainer, poet, philanthropist, and greatest heavyweight boxer of all time. He lived to be 74 years old, passing away in 2016 after his 32-year battle with Parkinson's disease. Also, he's not the only birthday we have today. It's also the birthday of well-known actress and comedian Betty White. She passed just a few weeks ago on December 31st, just 17 days shy of what would have been her 100th birthday. But, based off of what I've read and seen and kind of looked at for myself, she lived through, did you notice, 25 leap years. I want you to think about that. 25 leap years, and she was 17 days shy of what would have been her 100th birthday. So honestly, I think it's safe to say that she did in fact make it to 100. So in my mind, I'm going to say she made it to 100. I'm not saying she died at 99. She made it to 100, and congratulations to her. Lastly, I want to leave you with a quote from Dr. King. Now, while this quote that I chose may not be one of his most powerful quotes or, you know, most hard-hitting, to me, I feel like it is. Because it means a lot. It's not long, but it means a lot in terms of perseverance in all aspects of life. Think about that, what I just said. Perseverance in all aspects of life. You ready? It goes, if you can't fly, then run. If you can't run, then walk. If you can't walk, then crawl. But by all means, keep moving. Keep moving. Yes, sir. Man, remember that. Use that for everyday living. I know I'm going to definitely try to. I try to, but I'm going to try harder to use that for everyday living. If you can't fly, then run. If you can't run, then walk. And if you can't walk, then crawl. But by all means, keep it moving. That's all I have for you today. And thanks for listening. Do something today in your community. It's MLK Day. Find some form of service. And even if you, for whatever reason, don't or can't, find some way to make a small difference in somebody's life. Some way that you can put the smallest amount of joy and or a smile on somebody's face. Do that. And watch how much, I bet you they'll greatly appreciate it. So with that being said, thanks for stopping by and listening. And until next time, sayonara. Bye.
Even though we face the difficulties of today and tomorrow, I still have a dream. Yeah. It is a dream deeply rooted in the American dream. I have a dream that one day this nation will rise up and live out the true meaning of its creed. We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal. I have a dream that one day on the red hills of Georgia, The sons of former slaves and the sons of former slave owners will be able to sit down together at the table of brotherhood. I have a dream.